freedom,
family,
world unity,
all these things and more will be discussed on this podcast.
real stories, real people, real debates. On this podcast, we like to express our freedoms and talk about anything and everything goes.
Like freedom, family is important to us, and anybody that is listening, watching, or coming on the show as a guest star are all considered part of the greatest family to ever bless the solar system, the human race. No matter who you are, where you come from, you will always have a voice here on this podcast.
We like to flex our First Amendment, where all speeches and opinions are accepted for the right of freedom of speech. We have a saying we like to live by. Live life with eyes wide open. Being open-minded leads to true understanding of the world as it really is. Please, come, join us, and enjoy this experience as we embark on this journey of truth as we dismantle the subjective truth. I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria.
And you're experiencing high consciousness.
Disclaimer. Any and all information on topics presented are to the best of all who is present in each episode's knowledge. The goal of this podcast is to bring people together and set the example we all wish to see in our everyday lives. Whether it's home life, education, politics, history, business, etc. Any and all subjects can and will be talked and peacefully debated about on this podcast. On debate episodes, there will be a set rules of debate that hosts and guests alike must follow. We ask that you, the audience, like we ask of our guests, in the comments to please try to keep the language as clean as possible. We are a podcast for entertainment as well as educational purposes. Here we are all equal no matter what race, age, or gender. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Hi, y'all.
And welcome back
To an episode of
High Consciousness.
I'm your host, Nick.
And I'm your co-host, Victoria.
And we are
High Consciousness.
Welcome back, folks. And today is what? Monday.
It's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
See, even King's excited.
Exactly. So, last Monday, a little review on last Monday, we read the Articles of the Confederation, which was technically our first draft of the Constitution, but it wasn't our Constitution. It was something like that our founding fathers wrote on the fly while we were fighting the war against the British. So, therefore, our citizens could have their own set of rules that was different from Britain. And you want to throw anything on?
No. Today's episode is going to be on the Treaty of Paris, and that's about all I got.
The Treaty of Paris is the treaty that pretty much one of two treaties that we had with Great Britain to declare our independence away from them.
Mm-hmm. And got the king to sign it, or at least I think so.
Yeah.
We'll find out later in the episode. I only read like halfway through before we started recording, so it'll be just as much of a surprise to me as it will be to you.
Well, I'm pretty sure he signed it, or else we wouldn't be free today.
Well, yeah, of course, he probably did. I mean, I think when we learned in history class, he did, but, I mean, we'll be able to see, all the people that signed it and made it and all that,
Oh, yeah. Well, then, today, I read the Articles of Confederation, so today, our co-host, Victoria, will be reading.
You mean last week you read the Articles of Confederation?
Yes, last week.
Today.
Hey.
He's still half asleep. He hasn't had enough coffee this morning.
No, and I was at work last night.
Well, yeah, you did work really late last night. But anywho, whatsies, let's get into it. The Treaty of Paris, 1873. 1783. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. Signed by the representatives on behalf of England's King George II and the new
Third.
United States. Oh, third?
That's 3.
That is 3. Wow, Roman numerals, they always get me. But, I mean, 3 is just... Okay.
Sorry.
Let's get into it. The Treaty of Paris, 1783. Signed by the representatives on behalf of England's King George III and the new United States of America, the Treaty of Paris officially ended the Revolutionary War. The definitive Treaty of Paris, or Treaty of Peace, that says peace, not Paris, 1783. In the name of the most holy and undivided Trinity, It having pleased the divine providence to dispose the hearts of the most serene and most potent Prince George III, by the grace of God, of King of Britain, France, and Ireland, Defender of the Faith, Duke of Brunswick, and Lunebourg, Lunebourg, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire, etc., and of the United States of America, to forget all past misunderstandings and differences that have unhappily interrupted the good correspondence and friendship which they mutually wish to restore, and to establish such a beneficial and satisfactory intercourse between the two countries, upon the ground of reciprocal advantages and mutual convenience, as may promote and secure both perpetual peace and harmony, and having for this desirable end already laid the foundation of peace and reconciliation by the provisional articles signed at Paris on the 30th of November, 1782, by the commissioners empowered on each part with the articles we agreed to be inserted in and constitute the Treaty of Peace, proposed to be concluded between the Crown of Great Britain and the United States, but which treaty was not to be concluded until terms of peace should be agreed upon between Great Britain and France. His Britannic Majesty should be ready to conclude such treaty accordingly. And the treaty between Great Britain and France having since been concluded, His Britannic Majesty and the United States of America, in order to carry into full effect the provisional articles above mentioned, according to the tenor thereof, and having constituted and appointed, that is to say, His Britannic Majesty, on his part, David Hartley, Esquire, Member of the Parliament of Great Britain, and the said United States on their part, stat point, John Adams, Esquire, late a Commissioner of the United States of America at the Court of Versailles, late Delegate in Congress from the State of Massachusetts, and Chief Justice of the said State, and Minister Plenipotentiary of the United States to their High Mightiness, the States General of the United Netherlands, Benjamin Franklin, Esquire, late Delegate in Congress from the State of Pennsylvania, President of the Convention of the said State, Minister Plenipotentiary of the United States of America in the Court of Versailles, John J. Esquire, late President of Congress and Chief Justice of the State of New York, and Minister Plenipotentiary from the said United States at the Court of Madrid, to the plenipotentiaries for the concluding and signing of the present definitive treaty, who, after having reciprocally communicated their respective full powers, have agreed upon and confirmed the following articles. Article 1. His Britannic Majesty acknowledges the said United States, New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island, and Providence Plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, to be free and sovereign independent states, that he treats them as such, and for himself, his heirs and successors, relinquish all claims to the government, proprietary and territorial rights of the same in every part thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So, that first article and that first little bit there, it was just, so the first bit of the treaty, was pretty much saying, like, all these people who were our founding fathers, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, all them, they're saying in the beginning part here that,
we've all came to an agreement, and we was all mutual respected upon each other, that we respected you, you respect us, we fought this war for, 7 years now, and you can tell that we're not giving an inch, you're not giving you an inch, and I think we all want to be peace and prosperity now. It's time for peace and harmony. That's basically what that first section was getting at.
And I found it very interesting that they mentioned in the very beginning
the Trinity.
That, the Trinity, but that part does not surprise me because, one nation under God, indivisible, our whole, pledge of the anthem, or pledge to the flag. It says that, misunderstandings and differences that have unhappily interrupted the good correspondence and friendship between America and England.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I find that to be very interesting that, like, yeah, we're kind of, like, killing each other, but we can still be friends.
Yeah, because they were friends in the very, 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 very beginning. Before England and China was like, alright, we're colonized, y'all are settlements, you're our settlement, you're in our name, so now we're coming into governance. Now we claim this territory.
And the colonists said, oh, no, 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 no. We ran away from England to get away from all the discrimination in the first place that y'all are imposing on us, which is why we came over here in the first place. Like, no, that's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't want to be under the, English government law anymore.
Religious law.
The religious parts of the law, which, the law and the religious laws, they were all basically the same thing, because as we have even learned within The Secret Destiny of America, the very first book that we went over, politics and religion are one and the same. They are not two separate things like we have been told in our whole lives, and been made to think our whole lives, but they are actually just one and the same. People say religion and politics don't mix. Well, they're actually, they do.
One and the same. But how many articles do we have here?
We have 10.
10 articles? Okay.
10 articles, yeah. Yep.
Alright.
So, Article 1 here is basically saying, we acknowledge that these first, 13, they all want to be free now.
They want to be states, not colonies.
And that the king, after he dies, any of his successors or
family members, any of them at all, are getting no claim and cannot lay no claim to the land or to the people or to the government
via this treaty. Article 2. And all that disputes which might arise in the future on the subject of the boundaries of the said United States may be prevented is hereby agreed and declared that the following are and shall be their boundaries. From the northwest angle of Nova Scotia, that angle which is formed by the line drawn due north from the source of the St. Croix River to the highlands, along the said highlands which divide those rivers that empty themselves into the river St. Lawrence, from those which fall into the Atlantic Ocean, to the northernmost head of the Connecticut River, thence down along the middle of that river to the 45th degree of north latitude, from thence by a line due west on said latitude until it strikes the river Iroquois or Cataraqui. At least Cataraqui? I don't know. Cataraqui. Thence along the middle of the said river into Lake Ontario, through the middle of the lake until it strikes the communication by water between that lake and Lake Erie, along the middle of said communication into Lake Erie, through the middle of said lake until it arrives at the water communication between that lake and Lake Huron, thence along the middle of said water communication into Lake Huron, thence through the middle of said lake to the water communication between that lake and Lake Superior, then through that lake northward of the Isles of the Royal and Philippines. Philippio? Phelipeaux. To the Long Lake, thence through the middle of said Long Lake and the water communication between it and the Lake of the Woods, to the Lake of the Woods, through to the Lake of the northwestern point thereof, and thence due west course to the Mississippi River, thence a line drawn along the middle of the said Mississippi River until it should intersect the northernmost part of the 31st degree of north latitude south by a line drawn to the east from the determination of the line last mentioned in the latitude of 31 degrees of the equator to the middle of the river Apalachicola, and Chattahoochee. There's a whole song on the Chattahoochee. It's where I learned how to live and learned how to love. Little bit.
I know one thing. That's a lot of directions. I hope someone.
That's a whole lot.
I hope someone has a map. I hope someone has a map of the United States and Julie is drawing this out so they get an idea of where this border is, and then try to keep up with all that.
I mean, we got our own map right over there. I mean, we could try to do that right now. But that's a whole lot. So basically what it's saying is that we start from Nova Scotia, which is like right above Maine, and then we go
We're gonna have to do
over
we're
and
gonna have to
through,
go on the road map.
all the lakes, and then we go down the Mississippi River and across the Mississippi River. Goodness, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now you gotta make a left turn over here, right turn, then go do a scrabble around, and from northwest there, go to this lake, and go to this another lake right here. Then when you get to that lake, you need to go down to this river, down past the bayou.
This is a whole lot. So, okay.
Not a direction. Gotta be really detailed about how we tell these. No, make sure there's no loopholes. No loopholes.
So, 31 degrees of the equator to the middle of the river Apalachicola or Chattahoochee, thence along the middle thereof of its junction to the Flint River, thence straight to the head of St. Mary's River, then down along the middle of St. Mary's River to the Atlantic Ocean, east by a line to be drawn along the middle of the River St. Croix, from its mouth to the Bay of Fundy to its source, from its source directly to north to the aforesaid highlands, which divide the rivers that fall into the Atlantic Ocean from those which fall into the river St. Lawrence, comprehending all islands within 20 leagues of any part of the shores of the United States, and lying between lines to be drawn due east from the points of the aforesaid boundaries between Nova Scotia and the one part of and East Florida on the other shall respectively touch the Bay of Fundy to the Atlantic Ocean, excepting such islands as now or are heretofore have been within the limits of the said province of Nova Scotia. So I guess any islands that are within the boundary lines are also ours too. So that means Nova Scotia is actually the United States.
Used to be.
According to this.
Well, that's what the border.
At that time.
Well, that's what the border's cut off from.
Well, it kind of says, I don't know, but basically that is
Pretty much telling
that's the end of Article 2 there. So Article 2 was just all about our forefathers drawing the lines literally of where all of our borders for our colony boundaries are that we claim to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Article number 3. It is agreed that the people of the United States shall continue to enjoy unmolested the right to take fish of every kind on the Grand Bank and on all other banks of Newfoundland, also in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and all other places in the sea where the inhabitants of both countries used at any time heretofore to fish. And also that the inhabitants of the United States shall have liberty to take fish of every kind on such part of the coast of Newfoundland as British fishermen shall use, but not to dry or cure the same on that island. Okay, so they're saying, give us the freedom to fish right where y'all are fishing, but we're not gonna, dry and cure our fish on that same island that we catch it on. We're gonna take it back home and do it on our lands.
Yeah, we're not doing it on y'all's port. We're not doing it on y'all's port, so we ain't taking on none of your space, but let us fish it.
And also so that the British couldn't be like, oh, well, you did that on our land, so we're gonna take y'all's fish, or we get a portion of it because you were on our land. Our forefathers were like, oh, heck no! And also on the coasts, bays, and creeks of all other of His Britannic Majesty's dominions in America, and that the American fishermen shall have liberty to dry and cure fish in any of the unsettled bays, harbors, and creeks of Nova Scotia, Magdalen Islands, and Labrador, so long as the same shall remain unsettled, but so soon as the same or either of them shall be settled, it shall not be lawful for the said fishermen to dry or cure fish at such settlement without previous agreement for that purpose with the inhabitants, proprietors, or possessors of that ground. Well, that's interesting. So, it's like, we can cure and dry our fish on these other islands that are not claimed by either us or y'all. But the minute that somebody does settle, whether it's us or you, that's ours, or yours.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not allowed to, crisscross.
Right.
Article 4. It is agreed that creditors on either side shall meet with no lawful impediment to the recovery of the full value in sterling money of all bona fide debts hereto contracted. Article 5. Oh, well, that's it. So, I guess
2 and 3. 1 through...
After all things are settled, whoever owes who money, all debts must be
paid for.
Paid. Okay. Well, that's simple enough. Article 5. It is agreed that Congress shall earnestly recommend it to the legislatures of the respective states to provide for the restitution of all estates, rights, and properties which have been confiscated belonging to real British subjects, and also the estates, rights, and properties of persons resident in districts to the possession of His Majesty's arms, and who have not borne arms against the said United States, and that persons of any other description shall have free liberty to go to any part or parts of the 13 United States, and therein to remain 12 months unmolested in their endeavors to obtain the restitution such of their estates, rights, properties as may have been confiscated. Okay. So, I guess that means anybody that is a person or a resident of England or part of the Majesty's armies, which districts in possession on His Majesty's
You got a year to get all your stuff and get out of here, or convert over and be American.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what I pretty much got from that.
Yeah. Basically saying, like, you want to be an American? You can stay. But you got a year to figure it out. If you don't want to be an American and you want to go back home, pack your stuff and leave within a year.
Pretty much.
Okay.
That's what I got from that little beginning part of it without having a whole bunch of big word salads.
And that Congress shall also earnestly recommend to the several states a reconsideration and revision of all acts or laws regarding the premises so as to render the said laws or acts perfectly consistent not only with justice and equity, but with that spirit of reconciliation, which on the return of the blessings... Spirit of conciliation. What did I say?
Reconciliation.
Oh, oops. Justice and equity. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go back. Reconsideration and revision of all acts or laws regarding the premises so as to render the said laws or acts perfectly consistent not only with justice and equity, but with that spirit of conciliation which on the return of the blessings of peace should universally prevail. And that Congress shall also earnestly recommend to the several states that the estates, rights, and properties of such last mentioned persons shall be restored to them, they refunding to any persons who may now be in possession of the bona fide price, where any has been given, with such persons may have paid on purchasing of the said lands, rights, or properties since the confiscation. Okay. So I guess that's like granting people the ability to, you can keep your land or you can sell your land and go home.
Mm-hmm. One of the three. Regardless. You better figure it out.
And I guess this would be a confiscation in a way because, you know, we're kicking the British off our lands. So it's like, if you don't want to stay here, we're taking your land.
Right.
We're confiscating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to do it to us so you can get caught with the same treatment. You get a whole year, and then we're going to treat y'all how you treated us.
Fair enough. And the last bit here. And it is agreed that all persons who have any interest in confiscated lands, either by debts, marriage settlements, or otherwise, shall meet with no law impediment in the prosecution of their just right. Okay? So, if there's, like, you know, special cases and stuff, it will be investigated, and depending on how that goes, you know, the new laws that are being implemented, which give you a freedom of this, that, the third, they will not be impeded on during the prosecution process.
So what if a spouse and a husband are, well, spouses...
One wants to go back home to England, the other one wants to stay, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you settle that? And that's like kind of what that covers right there is that whoever has interest in the lands, you know, you can settle it with debts, marriage settlements, or anything else, and the law will not, you know, put the hammer down on you for that.
Right.
So, we got Article 6 here. The next few articles are going to be rather short.
Yep.
The first few were just really, really long.
Well, we had to get the record straight for Britain.
Yeah, I had to get the record straight. so they couldn't try no other funny business.
So
Article 6. There shall be no future confiscations made, nor any persecutions commenced against any person or persons for, or by reason of the part which he or they may have taken in the present war, and that no person shall on that account suffer any future loss or damage, either in his person, liberty, or property, that those who may be in confinement on such charges at the time of the ratification of the treaty in America shall be immediately set at liberty, and the prosecution so commenced be discontinued.
Basically, freeing all our war prisoners and war criminals during the war. Because the war's over now. There's no point.
Yeah, freeing the prisoners.
There's no point holding them prisoner. You know what I'm saying? If we already came to agreement and everything else, so yeah.
You give us our men back, we give you your men back, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
The war's over, so let's, agree to disagree and be friends and send everybody where they want to be.
And all charges from all the killing and everything else is slate clean.
Clean slate.
Seriously, that's what that means. That's what,
yeah.
That's
Giving England and America both a clean slate to start with.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty cool. Like, that's very inspiring.
That's what happens when diplomacy works.
Yeah, this is good diplomacy here. Article 7. There shall be a firm and perpetual peace between His Britannic Majesty and the said states, between the subjects of the one and the citizens of the other. Ooh, that's interesting. So they have subjects of the one, because a king doesn't have settlements. He doesn't have citizens. He has subjects. And in a government presidentship, we have citizens. That's interesting. So, between the subjects of one and the citizens of the other, wherefore all hostilities both by sea and land shall henceforth cease. All prisoners on both sides shall be set at liberty, and His Britannic Majesty shall with all convenient speed, and without causing any destruction or carrying away any African Americans or other property of the American inhabitants, withdraw all his armies, garrisons, and fleets from the United States, and from every post, place, and harbor within the same, leaving in all fortifications the American artillery that may be therein, and shall also order and cause all archives, records, deeds, and papers belonging to any of the said states or their citizens, which in the course of the war may have fallen into the hands of his officers, to be forthwith restored and delivered to the proper states and persons with whom they belong. Alright, so Article 7 is pretty much just like a reinforcement of, we'll give us your men back, you give us our men back. You give them back unharmed, we're all good. We give you back your men unharmed, we're all good. And not only are we trading our men, but any letters or documents or deeds and papers, records, whatever it is that rightfully belong to the American citizens, of which the king's men may have captured for, the spoils of war, they must return them, and without withholding.
Without backlip.
That back talk, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Article 8, very short. The navigation of the River Mississippi from its source to the ocean shall forever remain free and open to the subjects of Great Britain and the citizens of the United States. So we're giving the British room to at least be able to explore over here.
That's about it, though.
Yeah, that's it. Article 9. In case it should so happen that any place or territory belonging to Great Britain or the United States should have been conquered by the arms of either from the other before the arrival and said provisional articles in America, it is agreed that the same shall be restored without difficulty and without requiring any compensation. So pretty much, if we took some of their land or they took some of ours, we just straight up give it back. No compensation needed. Just give it back. Kind of like Tia Dalma with Jack Sparrow. If you don't want it, give it back. No. Pretty much. That's the jar of dirt right there. Give it back. And peacefully. Article 10. The solemn ratifications of the present treaty, expedited in good and due form, shall be exchanged between the contracting parties in the space of 6 months or sooner, if possible, to be computed from the day of the signature of the present treaty. In witness whereof, we, the undersigned of the ministers plenipotentiary, have in their name and in virtue of our full powers signed with our hands the present definitive treaty, and caused the seals of our arms to be affixed thereto. Done at Paris, this 3rd day of September in the year of our Lord, 1783. And there are no signatures there. It just goes straight on to the Virginia Plan. Anyway. So, the last one there, pretty much saying, like, you got 6 months or sooner, after the signature of this treaty to be able to, give everything back, figure out who wants to go where, return deeds and lands and papers and records and archives, and let the subjects go to the kingdom and let the citizens stay, and those that are subjects of the kingdom, if they wish to become Americans, they have, 6 months to a year to figure it out. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is something truly unique. I mean, I see why, our forefathers are spoken about in the history books the way that they are, about how, smart and diplomatic that they were, and how they did things that were just, unheard of.
Unorthodox.
And unorthodox, especially about the parts where, we have prisoners of war, plus we have land captured from the spoils of war, and it's just like a mutual agreement of, we give you your stuff back, you give us ours, and we just call it done.
Right.
Like, that's pretty unique. That's unheard of, even up today. We don't even hear of that kind of thing happening today.
Yeah, because people don't know how to be don't know how to be diplomatic and compromise and give one for another. Our Britain, you lost us. You lost this whole claim to the land, but we'll let you explore around, and we'll let you fish at our ports, and you let us fish at our ports, but you ain't gonna cut up nothing. We ain't gonna cut nothing up on your stuff. It's really just trying to stay
drawing lines.
Just staying mutual, yeah.
Yeah, staying mutual. Like, here's the line. We stay over here. You stay over there, and we'll be all right.
Mm-hmm.
And next Monday, we're going to be going over the Virginia Plan of 1787. And right after the Virginia Plan, we will get to the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, which we might cover the two in one episode. And then after the... Oh, yeah, we're not covering the Northwest Ordinance. No, that's too long. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 pages. And then after that, finally, we get to the Constitution.
And we're probably going to do the Constitution in different segments for the different articles and different,
Yeah, because they are pretty lengthy.
Well, the Constitution has to be lengthy.
Of course it does. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4,
and it's more
5, 6, 7 pages long.
And I believe we have Bill of Rights, too.
Yeah, the Federalist Papers, I believe, is the next thing. Which, I guess the Federalist Papers were kind of like our Bill of Rights in a way, I believe.
I don't know.
But we'll figure it out when we get there. But, anyway. And that is it for today's episode. Tell us what you guys found to be the most interesting about the Treaty of Paris. I found it very interesting how kind of mutual everything was, and how, our forefathers wanted to be friends with England and have good relations with England.
Well, yeah, all was pretty interesting, and to talk about your point, the reason why we were so, involved trying to be so friends with England is because we're still trying to essentially still kind of get rich and still have money flow coming into. Because, yes, we still be making trade with the French, and, of course, with the Spaniards, but we still needed England too because they had the whole global central trade in Europe.
Yeah, and we didn't really have a whole lot of trade established here in the United States. I mean, we had some trade, established with the natives and stuff, according to our Thursday episodes with the American narrative history, which is slowly catching up with our Constitution here. But we also had a lot of trouble with that as well. And a lot of it having to do with the piracy that was going on with the English and the Spanish as well. So it was kind of like.
But now we're like that. We're the middle gamers now. We're the middlemen. In the sense, because now everybody still wants their furs. Everybody still wants their food. Everybody still wants, the exotic fish, and meals that come from America. So that's where why we still want to be friends with Britain.
And if England wanted to keep surviving its long winters, it needed our corn.
Yep. But with that, y'all, we'll have to end the episode.
We hope y'all all enjoyed this episode, and please remember to hit the like and the subscribe buttons, so that way you are always notified whenever we have new videos. And the likes help push us through the algorithm. Everybody that watches, we really appreciate all your support that you've been giving us.
You all.
Even though we're still at a really low stage right now, but hey, one day high consciousness is gonna pop off.
Yep.
And we're taking all you guys right there with us. So, with that, we're going to leave you with our famous slogan, to live life with eyes wide open. Thank y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.
Woo!